Salutations everyone, Feeso here, and this is my promised predictions video. Let's get right into it and talk about the Reverie. We've been waiting for this forever, so I don't see any point in delaying it. What I think will happen, and this is just what I think, remember, all theorizing, don't take any of this seriously, but if I happen to be right, just future-proofing this video, I told you so. And if I happen to be wrong, I'm really sorry, I'm just guessing, please don't burn me. Anyway, let's get right into it. Firstly, I think Vivi is our POV for this thing. I think she'll have the most development and the most to say. I think that our characters, the characters who are allies of the Strawhats, they're gonna be in some deep trouble. Particularly the Fishman Island folks, because they brought a weapon with them. Shirahoshi, most likely, she'll be taken into custody by the world government. And I think the world government's going to call out some of these nations for being so buddy-buddy with Straw Hat Luffy. I think that one of the things which is going to be the focus is that with Big Mom being attacked and with the general landscape of the Yonkos changing so significantly to now include Luffy, that the balance of power will be disrupted. And the world government will take this opportunity to reinstate their authority, not only in the regions where typically the Yonko hold power, but also to reaffirm their grip on the various places which have been more influenced by pirates, such as Fishman Island and Alabasta. And yes, I'm going to double down and call it Alabasta. I'm so used to the term Alabasta, I think the pun makes more sense. More recently, we've gotten the spelling AR in the manga, and I honestly think that we might get confirmation in Reverie, whether it's AR or AL for Alabasta or Alabasta. Either way, I'm sure that the fandom as a whole will stick with the AL spelling, but I just prefer the AR. That being said, why would the nations accept this kind of treatment? Well, I think we'll get some reveals of some really big guns here. I think we're finally going to meet Green Bull or Green Bull. We're finally going to meet Green Bull, and that'll be hype. I'm expecting a young man based on one of two Japanese actors. I'm not quite certain, but he seems to have some kind of fancy hair going from his silhouette. Not gonna make any predictions about which actor he's based on, but all admirals are based on a Japanese actor, so it's safe to say that this one will be too. In addition to being a young man, I also predict that he will have time powers. Why time? Well, obviously you've got light with Kizaru, you've got gravity with Fujitora, and having time just completes the trifecta as far as I'm concerned. Now, yes, that is a very OP power. No, I don't think it'll be something more basic like the de-aging thing from Film Z. I think it'll be literally time, like a Doctor Strange kind of time manipulation. That will be really cool. I'm sure Oda can do a lot with that, but there should be some kind of limit on it, because otherwise this guy just can't lose a fight. But if we look at other series, time-based powers aren't given to the most awesome characters. You've got Gerdo from Dragon Ball. He was dealt with like a jabroni, because just because he can freeze time doesn't mean he's that powerful. So maybe some kind of balancing thing like that will come into play. Either way, I think that he will have a devil fruit. It'll be a major threat and it'll be a really hype moment, because I can't think of another better time to introduce this admiral. Having a typical admiral introduction like Kizaru's or Aokiji's, where they just show up and take names, doesn't seem very likely after we had Fujitora do a very similar thing in Dressrosa, only more on the antagonistic side, turning into more of an ally later on. So it's a bit of an inverse, but either way, I don't feel like we'll have anything like that for Green Bull. I think he's just there doing his job, and people are going to lose their minds when they see him. What other prediction do I have? Well, I reckon that the national treasure mentioned by Doflamingo in Dressrosa will be revealed to be the ancient weapon Uranus, or Uranus, or whatever you want to call it, Uranus. Any pronunciation's fine with me. I like the Greek Uranus, but whatever. Uranus, I can see it being linked to the sky. I can see it being linked to fire, but I'm going with the sky. But I don't think there's a chance in hell that we're gonna see it. I think we'll just get the threat of it. As for the revolutionaries interfering in the party, they're definitely gonna. We know that they've got to. But I think it will only happen at the darkest moment for Vivi. They're going to be desperate, and then boom, Dragon and Sabo and everyone will come pouring in, and it'll provide an opportunity to escape or just make things get lost in the shuffle. That's what I predict. But as I said earlier, a stated plan in fiction doesn't quite pan out, so I don't think that the revolutionaries will be particularly successful. They'll probably cause damage, sure, but they just survived Blackbeard, and they also went on to take down one of his minions. Granted, Blackbeard doesn't care, but come now, there's going to be some kind of retribution. I know destroying Boltigo was already retribution, but I don't see Blackbeard just letting them get away. So I reckon that maybe a tactical withdrawal might be how this conflict ends. Not only will they be facing off against the Marines and the new Admiral and potentially an ancient weapon on one hand, on the other hand they have the wrath of Blackbeard. Now for the elephant in the room, Vivi. Will she join the Strawhats? This is really her last opportunity to do so. And I can only say yes if she demonstrates significant power in the upcoming chapters. Maybe she ate a devil fruit or something, or maybe she's been training behind the scenes. I mean, if she ate a Logia, that would be amazing, because I really want a Logia and I want another girl on the ship, so 2 birds, 1 stone, and I already love Vivi. But she does have some negatives against her. We'll of course have to take Karu with us, so maybe some of you won't be so happy to have a pet if you find him annoying. But more importantly, she's got the blue hairdo, so she kind of tramples on Frankie's color scheme. And I do think that they worry about marketing and all that. But Oda, as a creative, he probably doesn't mind it. And you do have Jinbei joining, who's a similar shade of blue, so whatever. We'll also get a definite update on Jinbei's situation. I don't think he'll show up, but I think we'll hear some very dodgy rumors coming out of the Big Mom camp. But yeah, you see, whenever people talk about Vivi coming back, it's usually from an emotional point of view and not a realistic point of view. If she proves to be powerful enough, I think that it is very possible. Why do I think it's possible? Didn't she stay to put Alabasta back on its feet? Well, the fact of the matter is, it's back on its feet. We saw that when she was leaving, and honestly, I don't think that she intended to do anything more but heal the scars of war. But her joining Luffy's crew would put Alabasta right in the center of harm's way. So why would she do that? Well, the only reason why she would do that, in my opinion, is if the country is already on the world government's radar for separate reasons. So yeah, that brings me to the major point of King Cobra. He's going to bring up something very important during this meeting, and we all know it's about the poneglyphs. Now, do I think he'll get an answer about the poneglyphs? Hell no. But do I think we'll get some information about it? Yes, I do. And the information I think we'll get is that despite being a founding member of the world government, Alabasta was an ally to the Ancient Kingdom. I of course think the Ancient Kingdom is Raftel, but either way, an ally to the Ancient Kingdom. Why do I say this? Well, Shandora, in a similar time frame to when the Ancient Kingdom disappeared, were wiped out trying to defend their poneglyph. The fishmen were persecuted and driven undersea, and what did they have? A poneglyph. And Alabasta, of course, has a poneglyph. However, it's a lot better hidden than the other two. Because the Shandorians, while they're all noble and all that, it is a little stupid to have it right bang in the middle of the center of your biggest city. To me, that indicates an alliance with the Ancient Kingdom, which the world government had to wipe out. They wiped out the Ancient Kingdom, and they're gonna wipe out the other allies of it to silence them. Now, they couldn't destroy the poneglyphs, but hey, if you could get the people who understand it all dead, that's a result for them. So what does this mean for Alabasta? Well, quite frankly, it means a lot, because the fact that they had this hidden from a long time ago means that the organization, the alliance that became the world government, probably didn't know that Alabasta had such close ties to the ancient civilization. I'm willing to bet that they were secret allies. They hid this so they could preserve the truth for future generations. Or to be more specific, to provide a way to fight back for future generations. They could see the cause was lost, so they hid a map to Pluton, in case the world ever needs it to stop the tyrannical world government. And they joined the world government to ensure that they have influence, but they never sold their soul to the world government. None of the Nefertari kings ever thought, I'm gonna cash in on this world noble status. So this is how I think it will play out. Cobra was never told any of the history I just speculated on, so he doesn't know any of it. And he's curious about it and will ask about it. The world government people, they'll be like, you really don't want to dig into this. How about you come and accept the world noble position? You and your daughter move to Merijua. Cobra will decline, and so will Vivi, because it's really not her style. And upon hearing that, and along with the rumors about Luffy and Vivi and all that stuff which happened with Alabasta, which they covered up by saying Smoker protected the country, they will just reveal it all. They'll reveal, we know Alabasta's a traitor, we know that you hid a poneglyph, we know that you were an ally of our enemy, and we're going to basically wipe you out. And so yeah, I think that is the only possibility which could get Vivi away from Alabasta. And it would be really epic, I'm not gonna lie, it's what I want to happen, but it is just a theory, putting the various puzzle pieces into place, but I don't know the full picture yet, so that's just my guess. And if things do shape up like that, and the world government does threaten Alabasta, well, it would make sense for them to plead or something. I see King Cobra and Vivi having a bit too much pride, and they could probably defend themselves for a bit, but frankly, they can't do much against this. Really, I could see Vivi running off to Luffy to beg for help, and to tell about Shirahoshi being kidnapped or something, and all this stuff building up, so when Vivi actually gets to Luffy and the crew, and they're about to reach Raftel or something, and they get told, this is what's happening with the world government, and at the same time Luffy and the crew find out the truth of the history of the world, and everything falls into place. They've got a motive to take down the world government. They'll come back round and wage war. That's probably too endgame, so I'm thinking very long term here, but that could happen. Another thing that could happen is Alabasta's fine, the world government doesn't want to taint anything with that, but Luffy isn't. There's a plan to take out Luffy because he's the new big dog on the scene. He's got 1.5 billion berries on his head. He's basically the dragon of this reverie. Because Dragon 4 years ago, he was the big talk there. They said he would be a big threat when the next reverie comes around, and of course he was. I think that the world government want to nip Luffy in the bud straight away, and I wouldn't be surprised at all if Luffy becomes the main talking point of Reverie. Of course, the nations who support him will speak up, and that could jeopardize some of their political ambitions, specifically Fishman Island, who want to migrate. It might be at risk, unless they go along and cooperate with the world government. But again, Fishman Island is now officially Straw Hat territory, so that will put a lot of pressure on them, in my opinion. Either way, if this kind of extortion thing goes on and Luffy's life is under threat, like they're going to send out all the forces after Luffy or something, I could see Vivi easily having to go and warn Luffy about it, or warn Luffy about some kind of doom involving Uranus, but those are the two big scenarios. Something big has to happen to dislodge Vivi from Alabasta, as far as I'm concerned. Other than that, I don't really see a shot of her joining. So yes, all that speculating and theorizing was for the end game to be whether or not Vivi will join. So yeah, it will probably either go one of those ways, or she's just not going to join and Oda will do something completely crazy that I didn't think of, which is most likely what's going to happen. So yeah, that concludes this theory video. I hope you enjoyed. A lot of speculation here, but it's the stuff which I would like to see from Reverie, the stuff I think we might see from Reverie, and I want to know what you think we'll see from Reverie. So let me know in the comments below, and subscribe and like if you enjoyed it. If you did, please check out my review for chapter 904 or 903, and stay tuned till the next chapter. I hope to see you then. Farewell.